What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new Liverpool news video where we will talk about that Shaqiri also tested positive for COVID when he traveled to the Switzerland training camp, and I'm really fed up with this, and I think that Liverpool should have done the right thing, which is, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, that we should have done what Juventus, Salzburg and RB Leipzig and just three clubs that I know of, who actually just told their players that they can't go on international duty, they have to quarantine for 2 weeks and train in their bubble basically, and not risk getting more players infected. For example, at Salzburg there were only 3 players who got the virus, and they still said that none of their players can go to international duty. So that's the main topic of this video. We will also later talk about Van Dijk saying that Liverpool have to get ready to face a lot of challenges and a lot of challenging times this season, because everybody wants to take down Liverpool because they are the top team in the Premier League. So what do you think about that? And let me know what are your thoughts in the comments below about today's topics. Of course, leave a like on this video if you enjoy these. And now let's get straight into it. So Liverpool midfielder Shaqiri has tested positive for the virus when he traveled to Switzerland. The Swiss national team tested all their players and Shaqiri came back positive, so he has to now be in self-isolation for 2 weeks. I'm really happy that Shaqiri will be at Liverpool for this season, but I'm not really happy that Liverpool let all their players just fly around the world. For example, Alisson, Fabinho, Firmino, 3 Brazilian internationals, are flying to South America and they are playing in Chile and Peru and all sorts of these kind of countries where who knows what kind of protocols, what kind of precautions they are taking, and who knows how many other players will come back to Liverpool and test positive before the Merseyside derby, also before a very crucial part to our season, because without Alisson, Liverpool already have a weaker squad. And yes, we will probably have Thiago, Mane and Henderson and Tsimikas back, but if we have to be with without a few key players, then this could be a really challenging time for Liverpool. So basically this is the statement that the Swiss FA made. Shaqiri has tested positive for COVID-19 in consultation with the health authorities. He's in isolation. The strict protective measures and requirements of UEFA for national teams have been strictly adhered to. Based on this, clarifications are currently on the way with the local health authorities about how to proceed. And I think Liverpool should do what Salzburg did, because basically Red Bull Salzburg are enforcing a team quarantine after some of their players tested positive. I think it's like the same amount of players that Liverpool had that tested positive, and basically all international call-ups for Salzburg players in the next 2 weeks have been rejected, said Salzburg in a statement, and that was only after 3 players tested positive. That's now confirmed. And at Liverpool we are already at 4. We had Tsimikas first, and then Thiago, and then Sadio Mane, and now Shaqiri as well. The problem is that when Shaqiri's diagnosis came in, the news came in, Liverpool already sent their players out onto international duty. So that is now a problem, that Liverpool have their players all around the world, and I'm seriously worried that Liverpool will have a very depleted squad and a lot of positive cases in the next 2 weeks. And if Everton beat Liverpool and they go 6 points clear this early in the season, I won't be worried for like Everton winning the title, but I will be worried that Liverpool will get into this downward spiral, into this bad run of form that will get harder and harder to get out from without some of our key players. And I know of course that this impacts some nations, and Liverpool have a lot of players going to high profile big nations around world football, so it would be difficult for Liverpool to do this. But still, for example, my home nation Hungary, we will miss two of our best players, Gulácsi, who plays for Leipzig, and Szoboszlai, who plays for Salzburg. They will not play in a crucial European qualifier playoff against Bulgaria, and Salzburg basically put the whole team in quarantine, which means that they can only travel between their house, the training ground and match locations. No other contacts are allowed for these Salzburg players, and that is very strict. And there was a procedure agreed between the Austrian Bundesliga, the Austrian Football Federation and the Austrian authorities that if 2 or more players test positive for the virus, then that is the standard procedure that a club can reject all international call-ups and put the whole team in quarantine. Let me know if that's what Liverpool should do or should have done or not. Let me know in the comments below. And Marko Grujić was all on the verge of joining Werder Bremen in a £80 million deal, but that fell through in the last minute, and it looked like that Grujić had to play under 23 football until January because there was no space in the squad for him to be registered in Liverpool's Premier League squad or in Liverpool's Champions League squad. But at the last minute, Grujić could secure a 1-year loan move to FC Porto with no option to buy. That is crucial. So Porto won't be able to buy Grujić at the end of the loan spell. And the reason why this could happen after transfer deadline day is that the deadline day in Portugal is a lot later. It's a few weeks later than in England, and you can still register until today, I think, or until yesterday evening, into the Champions League squad. So Porto could still sign Grujić on a loan deal before the Portuguese deadline day, and they could still register him for the Champions League. So Grujić will play Champions League football with Porto, which is, I think, very interesting and very exciting. And of course Liverpool only wanted to sell Grujić this summer, but a good bid hasn't materialized for him. I mean, it didn't go through, so that's why in the end Liverpool decided it's better for Grujić and for Liverpool as well for him to go out on loan, because if he just sits out half a season and doesn't play competitive adult football, then that's not good for Grujić, that's not good for the Liverpool, because Grujić loses value, so it wouldn't have benefited anyone. And especially because Porto is in the same group as Manchester City, this will be an interesting test and a good challenge for Grujić to see how he does. And according to James Pearce, the transfer window, in the domestic transfer window between English clubs is shot by the end of next week, so Liverpool can still loan out players or sell players like Nathaniel Phillips, Ben Woodburn, Yasser Rucci. They are all expected to secure moves away from Liverpool in the next 1 week. And Brentford have been linked with Larouci by the Evening Standard. Phillips is tipped to sign for Swansea by the Express newspaper, and Woodburn could sign for Hull City. That has been talked about by the Daily Mail as well. So these 3 players are linked with moves to English clubs, but we still have a little bit of time to iron out the details on these moves. But I think these 3 players have just no future at Liverpool. I would have loved to see Nathaniel Phillips make some appearances in the League Cup, but it looks like that Reece Williams is higher in the pecking order, and he has looked pretty solid, pretty sharp, I have to be honest. And Van Dijk predicted very challenging times for Liverpool, because he said, and I quote, "Everybody wants to see you fall when you are at the top," and this is what Van Dijk said. I think trying to stay at the top is the hardest thing to do. Everyone wants to see you fall when you reach the top. That is what life is about, especially these days. For me, I want to give everything I've got until I retire, and then I could have no regrets after. I don't want any regrets afterwards. I think that would be the worst feeling you can have. It is going to be challenging times coming up. We are champions, something that took a while. We should enjoy the moment and go for it in each game. And we also shouldn't forget that it plays a massive massive part in not just Liverpool but in every team's performance that there are no fans in the stadium, and probably Liverpool benefit from the Anfield crowd more than any other team from their home stadium. But Van Dijk actually went on to admit that he misses the famous Anfield atmosphere as well as the extra motivation that used to come with trying to silence rival fans in away games. And that is actually, I think, very interesting, that Van Dijk gets extra motivation from away games where you can silence rival fans by winning or scoring a goal or getting a good performance. And this is what Van Dijk added. The fans can play a massive part in difficult times during games and also at good times in games. When you concede, the fans will lift you, and when you score, they make the opponent go further away from you. It's the same case for everyone, but for us in particular, everyone knows how difficult it is to play at Anfield with the fans behind us. Hopefully things can change as soon as possible, because we need fans. It lifts our performances at home, but when you play away and the home fans turn against you, I like that as well. It gives you that motivation sometimes to do even better. It's something I definitely enjoy and that I miss. So that's, I think, a very interesting quote and very interesting interview. And Wijnaldum for the first time spoke out on the interest from Barcelona in him in the summer transfer window. This is what he said: "I don't think the Barcelona interest was that serious. Otherwise, you would have read a bit more about it, or more would have happened. There was nothing concrete. I didn't have to think about it. I will stay on with Liverpool, it looks like now. My contract will run for another 10 months. It could still change, of course. You never know that in football. So we will see." So basically at the moment it looks like Wijnaldum is happy to run down his contract at Liverpool, and also Jurgen Klopp said that there is no problem really. I cannot speak about the future in a few years time, but it is all fine right now, it's all good for the moment. You know the situation between me, Wijnaldum and the club. Everything is completely fine. It's just that Liverpool offered him a contract, Wijnaldum wasn't happy about it, he didn't sign it, and no other discussion has been taken place so far. And finally, what I want to talk about is that Liverpool have conceded 11 league goals this season, and which is very worrying. Yes, 3 of them can be attributed to direct unforced errors, and also some of them were like just cruel deflections, but most of them were the result of poor defending from individuals. And perception is very important in football, and if Liverpool's perception of being unbeatable, being champions and by far the best team in the Premier League, if that falls and Liverpool will very freely attack Liverpool for the rest of the season, then Liverpool could be in trouble. But maybe I will make a separate video on this later, probably tomorrow, because this deserves an own video on its own, because I want to analyze more what went wrong at Aston Villa and how Liverpool can basically make sure that it doesn't happen in the future. Thanks for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Have a nice day. See you later. Goodbye.